and welcome back to Football Made Simple. The Manchester derby took centre stage in the Premier League as Pep Guardiola's City hosted Leeds United. City were looking to all but guarantee the title, whilst United were trying to ensure they didn't get drawn into a top 4 race. In the end, the game ended 2-0 to the Reds thanks to a Bruno Fernandes penalty and a Luke Shaw goal. The XG indicated United had the better quality chances, 2.11 to 1.28. The XG time app showed that United had few shots, but most of them high quality, while City were the opposite. But what tactics did both managers use? Let's take a look. A reminder of how both sides lined up, courtesy of our video sponsor, OneFootball, with Pep opting for a 4-3-3 and Ollie the 4-2-3-1. If you want formations like this, news, team and player stats, check out the OneFootball app. It is the best football app, and the best part is it's absolutely free through the link in the description below. Now, let's start with what City looked to do on the ball, as they had the majority of it, with 66% possession. Overall, United didn't really look to press high, ending with a passes per defensive action of close to 25. But this, of course, was because they went ahead so early, so this was a deliberate ploy. But in the first 15 minutes or so, United used a higher 4-2-3-1 block when the City centre-backs had the ball, with Martial looking to cut off the route between the centre-backs, and Rashford in particular coming in narrow into midfield with Cancelo, whilst Fernandes tied up Rodri, making central progression difficult. Edison would then push up higher to provide a middleman to allow City to switch between sides, with the centre-back splitting wider, with Zinchenko at times moving infield early. But generally, Zinchenko was the third centre-back, with he and Stones staying extremely wide, hoping to receive in space to play higher. But one of the keys for United limiting City's progression was that Rashford and James initially stayed narrow and compact, making it difficult for City to play into the midfield, where they had the numerical superiority due to Jesus often dropping deep and Cancelo having inverted. So, United were willing to initially give up the wide regions. And down the right, once the ball did go out to Stones, we could see Rashford move out to press him, opening up the route into Cancelo. But in this match, Cancelo was particularly poor, and when pressured often gave the ball away, allowing United to transition. But most of City's play came down the left, and Zinchenko had the most touches of the ball for the side. And when the ball went wide to Zinchenko in these regions, United often used it as a press trigger, with James springing out and looking to force him into a risky pass infield or to go back to the keeper. However, City adapted, as with Sterling high tying up Wan-Bissaka, Gundogan would often move into this space created to receive. And City would overload the left. So, if McTominay moved out wide to cover, with De Bruyne also shifting across, he could look to receive the ball. But more commonly, United would shift across, meaning the switch to Mahrez was often free, with Cancelo having initially moved into the half space to draw Shaw. Once Mahrez did receive the ball, with Rashford still central, Mahrez would look to take on Shaw either for the shot or to open up space for the overlapping man to look for the cross. But when City lost the ball in these regions, we often saw them look to counter-press, and Rodri was key to this, pushing forward from defensive midfield and looking to intercept the first pass, which was effective at times, and City did end with a low passes per defensive action of just over 8. However, if Rodri missed the first pass, Bruno, Rashford, James and more would immediately be running at the back 4, which happened on several occasions. Stones and Diaz did well to often slow them down. But unlike United's other wins against Pep, this one wasn't all about the transition, with United also having interesting mechanisms in possession. United dropped Maguire and Lindelof into the box and began short to initially draw City into the press. Early on, City only committed Jesus and De Bruyne to pressing the centre-backs, and as a result, McTominay would often be able to drop deep and begin the next phase. Alternatively, if Gundogan and Rodri backed up the press, it created space between the backline and midfield, which the dropping Martial or Fernandes could then look to receive the ball and begin the next phase. These gaps were created as Stones and Diaz couldn't back up the press with a high line, due to the pace of Rashford and James in behind being a threat, and Walker initially being on the bench. But as City went behind early, they had to press and find a solution. They tried to do this with De Bruyne staying deeper in midfield to prevent the overload, and instead it was the ball-side wingers who took turns pressing the centre-back when in possession. But this left both fullbacks as easy outlets, and City's own fullback would then be 2 versus 1 down. We see this in the Shaw goal. United are building shorter. McTominay had dropped in, and Gundogan can press as Rodri and De Bruyne behind him plug the gaps. But Mahrez had come narrow onto Maguire, so Shaw freely receives over the top. Cancelo commits himself, a terrible decision, and Shaw gets past him with ease, and Rashford had been forming the wide 2 versus 1, so Stones has to keep one eye on him, and one eye on Shaw. But eventually, Rashford is able to receive, and play Shaw back in, who finishes well. After this happened, City pressed less in the first phase, with Jesus being the sole presser in order for City to maintain more defensive solidity. Overall, this was a deserved United win, although the rash penalty given away by Jesus changed the dynamic of the game. Oli will be hoping the confidence boost and the 3 points will see them close out the top 4 comfortably, whilst Pep will want his men to get back on track as soon as possible. As always, only a few of the tactics could be covered, so I want to know, what did you make of the match? What else did you notice? Drop it down in the comments below. A quick shout out to my Patreons for helping to make this video possible. If you want to support, head on over to patreon.com/footballmadesimple and you'll get rewards like early access to videos and exclusive content. And I'd like to give a special thanks to my patrons, including Nicholas Nilsson, Nate Wathen, Terence Kennel, and Jack Brain for helping to make this video possible. But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.